Title: The Shadows of Ambition. Nick and Julia had been married for 7 years, an unusually long stretch in a world where the allure of distraction constantly beckoned. Their lives had unfolded pleasantly in a quiet suburban enclave, punctuated by simple joys and shared dreams. Nick had always admired Julia's ambition, her unwavering drive to succeed, but nothing prepared him for the sudden changes that accompanied her new job at a prestigious marketing firm. Barely a week into her employment, Julia came home late one evening, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Nick, you wouldn't believe how incredible this place is. The project I'm working on is a game changer," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with fervor. Nick felt a twinge of unease. He had noticed the way her boss, Michael, a charismatic man with an aura of confidence, had looked at her during the firm's introductory dinner. As Julia spoke about her day, he was struck by her enthusiasm, but also a sense of dread. He pushed his concerns aside, wanting to trust his wife and be supportive. As weeks went by, Julia changed. She became more absorbed in her work, often needing to stay late for meetings. Her phone buzzed constantly, and she seemed restless, distracted by something unspoken. One evening, while washing the dishes, Nick caught a fleeting glance at Julia's phone, an unread message from Michael. It was a simple message, but the timing felt off, and a gnawing feeling of suspicion took root in his mind. That weekend, unable to shake the feeling of impending dread, Nick decided to confront Julia. He tried to mask his growing discomfort with gentle curiosity. "Julia, is everything okay with work? You seem different." She hesitated, her fork pausing midair, then set it down. "It's just a lot, Nick. Michael's been putting a lot of pressure on me to deliver results. He believes in my potential." Nick sensed a veiled truth behind her words, but chose not to press further. However, the tightness in his chest only grew. One night, sleepless and restless, he followed Julia as she left for what she said was a late meeting. His heart raced as he tailed her to the vibrant downtown lights. To his shock, he saw her enter a sleek bar where Michael was known to host team gatherings. Peering through the window, the scene played out like a slow-motion nightmare. Julia laughed, tossing her hair over her shoulder, ensnared by Michael's persuasive charm. They seemed engrossed in conversation, their chemistry palpable even from a distance. Nick's stomach twisted as he watched Michael lean in closer, whispering something that made Julia blush. Something inside snapped. Nick turned away, anger and despair battling for dominance. He knew he had to act, but how? The drive home felt interminable. Each streetlight felt like a countdown, illuminating his torment and frustration. Days melded into weeks as Nick wrestled with his thoughts, vacillating between confronting Julia and gathering proof of her betrayal. His dreams were plagued by shadows of Julia in Michael's embrace, the laughter echoing in his ears like a cruel reminder of his torment. Fueled by sorrow, he enlisted help from a private investigator, desperate for clarity. The investigator's findings were grim. Michael had a known history of seducing employees, a stark pattern of his rise to power, and captivated hearts left in his wake. The evidence was irrefutable, yet Nick found himself grappling with the impending confrontation. What would he say? Would it shatter their marriage, the life they had built together? Finally, overwhelmed, Nick returned home one evening to find Julia at the dining table, an open laptop before her. It was time. The air crackled with tension as he sat down across from her, gathering the courage to speak the truth. "Julia, we need to talk," he began, his voice steady but trembling with the weight of his words. Her startled expression revealed the storm brewing beneath her calm facade. "What is it, Nick?" she asked slowly, the deflection clear in her tone. "I know about Michael," he stated, unable to mask the hurt staining his voice. "I know what's been happening between you two." Julia's face paled, a storm of emotions flickering across her features. "Nick, it's not what you think." "No? Because it looks a lot like you're on the edge of a precipice, Julia. The job, the late nights, it all adds up." Silence filled the room, an unspoken understanding crackling in the air. Julia drew a shaky breath, tears glistening in her eyes. "I never wanted it to happen, but he made me feel valued in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. The power, the money, it's intoxicating." Nick's heart shattered as the weight of her admissions piled on top of the unspoken betrayals. He stood, conflict raging inside. He now knew she had changed for the worst, and the money had corrupted her mind. She wasn't the woman he married anymore. As Nick packed a bag to spend the night at a hotel, he knew he had to prepare for a divorce. No matter how much he loved her, he couldn't forgive her. Feeling disgusting about what Julia had done, Nick was ready for the next chapter of his life without her.